It was roughly October, whatever date, 2000. My dad got on the phone with me, my old Nokia brick phone. I remember him calling and saying, "You gonna do what, son? Help my pitiful time," which was always a saying of his, help my pitiful time. I was telling him about how I just got a job offer from John Deere, a well-known brand, great name recognition, especially according to my dad, who was an old dairy farmer, in favor of a contracting gig that was only going to last a year or less for Turbinac. And he could not understand why I would do that. And he gave out all the list of reasons about how safe a job was and how great it would be for the long term. And I had to explain to him that that's not what I wanted to do. Safety wasn't going to outweigh what I was going to learn and the flexibility I was going to get from the contracting gig. Thinking about him, he had always had a long-term job for a long period of time until I was about 7 or 8 years old. He had worked for the hospital in our local town, and he was over accounts receivable, had about 100 people under him. But he could see the writing on the wall. At some point, he would be squeezed out of middle management, and that was going to happen to him anywhere he went in hospital administration land. So he decided to do something even riskier. When I was a little fella, he bought a Curtis Mathis franchise. For those of you that don't remember, their slogan was, "The most expensive TV there is, but darn well worth it," which was a great slogan, but obviously a terrible business model because you didn't get much repeat business. So after they declared bankruptcy for the third time, he decided not to let them take him down with him. And he created Alexander's Electronics, and then Alexander's Electronics and Satellites, and then Alexander's Video Rental, and then Alexander's Furniture, and then Alexander's Rent to Own, and then insert here, over and over and over. He created all of these iterations and kept, the term now would be pivoting, but he kept changing, and he kept finding things that would work or that wouldn't work until eventually he settled in on Alexander's Controlled Climate Storage Units 30 years into the business. That move for him was less risky than staying at a long-term job, yet he couldn't understand it for me, and understandably so, because it was difficult going through all those iterations. He wanted to save it for me. For you, for me, working for yourself is less risky than working for somebody else. Why is that? Working for somebody else, you've got one source. You don't control how much money you make. The job can be great one day and then terrible the next because you get a new lousy boss, change in administration, coworkers that aren't much fun, and you don't always get to make your own decisions. And a lack of autonomy can drive you out of any job. Business can be safer because you can decide on multiple streams of income. You can decide how much money you can make. You get to call all the shots, which was a little frightening because you can't go blame somebody else when things don't go right, but it can also be a lot of fun, and the buck stops with you, so to speak. For me, I still have my full-time job, but I have two additional sources of income with two businesses, is business coaching in addition to the business coaching, and then I still create explainer videos. As for the John Deere gig, turns out shortly after I turned that job down, they laid off 10% of their workforce as we went through a recession shortly thereafter. Mostly it was the new people that they had hired. So it turns out the safe job there was risky.